Welcome to the Harnessing Happiness podcast. This is the Happy Clappy Soundbite.
Hello and welcome to Harnessing Happiness with myself, Sarah J Naylor, and this your Happy Clappy short sound bite with me just chatting along on my own. So thank you for taking the time to listen. Today I really want to talk to you about balance and everything that's running through my mind relating to balance. So for a starter, well, I'm a Libran, so I'm the scale, so I guess, that balance is sort of inherently within me. And, I always like to get sort of a real balance of things in my life. I've always been somebody who likes to do everything in moderation. That said, I also like to do lots of different things as well, and sometimes I have a bit of a shiny new object syndrome, and other times, there's just things that I want to do and I get excited about, and that's my overdone strength. I get excited and then I try and balance everything out because I've got lots of things going on work-wise and then lots of things going on socially, and I am trying to balance them at the wrong level. I was like, okay, I've got lots of energy, which is fantastic, although I did have until just recently, which is why I wanted to really talk about balance today, because I'd really overdone it. In fact, to be perfectly frank, I've been flat out probably for the best part of the last 6 or 7 years, and very much more so over the last 2 years, and then in the last about 8 months, 9 months, I took on even more stuff because I've functioned quite highly in terms of being able to, my capacity to do a lot of things, because like I've said, I get excited about stuff, so I sort of overbalance. I balance everything up, but at a very sort of top level, which is probably a bit crazy, and I think it sort of probably took me over the top, hence suddenly getting a bout of illness which knocked me sideways. And the body is a very good indicator, very good at telling you when it's time to stop and review and check in with yourself. I was floored. I went from over sort of working and operating at about 100% easily to sort of 5 to 10%, and for me that was very, very debilitating. It was a massive shock to my system to actually suddenly find myself incapacitated completely for the best part of 3 days because I'd been struck down by this virus, not COVID. Anyway, without going into all the details of that, it made me stop and reflect and realise that even though I'd pulled back on some of the stuff that I'd been doing, I needed to do that further and regain that balance, but regain the balance at a somewhat lower level. So rather than trying to do lots and lots and lots of things and balance it out at a sort of a high vibe level, bring it down, taking out the things that I really didn't need to be doing. And that's the thing, it's taking that time to stop and reflect and review, because if things aren't really working, and if you are then suddenly struck by an ailment, and this was not the first ailment, I'd had shin splints because I've been doing a lot of running, and that's something I really wanted to, and I do want to continue with. So I'd got to really look at where I can get that balance back in my life. So, I've sort of thought, well, I do a lot with social media because you feel like you should be doing a post on LinkedIn, you should be doing something on Instagram, you should be doing something on Facebook, and then within Facebook, within this group and that group, and commenting on different people's posts on LinkedIn and sort of creating reels on, and suddenly you go, I'm in a crazy world. This is mad. What am I doing with my life? I need to regain some balance because, yes, I still want to do all of these things, but I don't need to do them at a crazy level. I need to regain that balance in my own life and make it one that's workable, make it one where I've got time for me to just be, because the power of just being is really important. And I've not really, if I'm hand on heart, to be honest, given myself a huge amount of just being time because I've been so busy doing the things that I've enjoyed out of work, which is I enjoy my work as well. I get very excited about recording podcast, meeting guests, recording these episodes, talking to you all. Even though, I don't see your faces, I know you're out there because I see the stats, and I love knowing that you're all over the world. So thank you for listening. I love what I do. I've got a recruitment business as well, and I coach and I write books and I've got a YouTube channel. But, sometimes I do too much because then I'm trying to balance that out with cycling and swimming and running and fitting everything in, trying to get yoga in, trying to do meditation. There are only so many hours in the day. So it is very much about finding that point of balance and what works for you. I mean, some people can find themselves, spending far too many hours at work, and it's really not healthy for any of us to be chained to a desk all day. And I know there are jobs out there that you do find yourself in that position, but I'm a true advocate. One of my real passions is aligning yourself with your talents and your passions and your career accordingly, because I believe that when you're doing something you're passionate about, work's not work and you're doing it because you're enjoying it. But even so, as I have found, I love lots of what I do, but it's still about finding that balance. And that's true of, doing things socially as well. It's whenever we start to overdo things that we enjoy, it's just an overdone strength, and it's recognising that, and it's taking time to reflect and thinking, well, okay, I do enjoy doing all of these things, but how can I change them? How can I do some small changes? What is important to me? What do I actually want to continue doing? What do I need to carry on doing? How can I adjust my time accordingly so that I'm not charging around doing too much? Or likewise, it could be the other way around. If you haven't been doing a huge amount and you're not getting anywhere in your life, and the balance is all out because maybe you're not getting outside, you're not getting any exercise, you're not getting any fresh air, or you're spending too much time. It's just looking at where you're at. I mean, there's a great tool that we use within coaching called the Wheel of Life. So imagine a circle. I'm going to do my best to describe this for you. Draw a circle and then draw lines horizontally and vertically directly through that, and then again on the angle. And you can then label each of those points elements within your life, whether that be work, exercise, time in nature, whatever it might be, and then plot from the centre out to the edge 10 little strike marks on those lines, and they're from 0 in the middle to 10 on the edge. 0 being you're not doing enough of it, and 10 being that you're absolutely delighted and it's happy and everything's fine. And you can plot all the way round, then you can see where your life is actually out of balance and where you can sort of start to review it. In fact, if you just Google the Wheel of Life, you'll find, I'm sure, somebody somewhere has got it on the good old internet. So that's a top tip there for you. But yes, do take that time out for yourself to reflect if you feel your life is out of balance. Where does it need adjusting? And then start to get curious. I've already recorded an episode on being curious that you can sort of explore, but it is looking at that situation, go, okay, well, my life is out of balance. What do I need to do? What can I adjust? How can I make the changes? How can I bring those about? And as I said, for myself, I've given myself plenty of time now to sort of just to be a little bit slower paced, knowing that everything is working out wonderfully and that I can sort of start to adjust, and I'm not going to do as much, I'll not put as much pressure on myself about doing social media posts, for example, and just to allow everything to kind of go with the flow. Because you know what? Actually, when we're not resisting something, things flow and things fall into place. I mean, we all need to take action, and we also need to observe when things are happening. But that's about covered the basics of being in balance. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my little rambles, and you know your life is in balance. And if it's not, that you do take that time to sort of reflect and adjust accordingly. And thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed my rambles, and please do rate, review, subscribe, whatever it is that you do, follow on your podcast platform, and let's spread happiness globally. I mean, it's already happening, but let's continue to make it happen even further. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate you listening to my podcast. Take care, and all the best until next time.
That was the Happy Clappy Soundbite. Hear full-length episodes of the Harnessing Happiness podcast, released every Tuesday. And for more exclusive content from Sarah, just visit sarahjnaylor.com.